Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, whatever the case may be. I think it's been snowy in so much of the land. Here I am in Canada, it's been very snowy. So I started thinking about winter flowers, because there's a lot of them actually. It's hard to believe, but there actually is. And one of the ones that came up that I was actually really surprised at was Hellebore. I had no idea. I do different like poison series with flowers, and Hellebore is definitely one of them. This is not medical advice by far. Um, but I had no idea that they actually bloom in the winter, which shocked me. Like, I had no idea. So I decided to do this piece, and I've done them before, but looking into them, I just learned so much. Like the fact that they can grow through snow, like the amount of photos out there of Hellebore that are literally poking out through these snow drifts. I'm like, how does a flower do that? And it turns out there's more than a few that do. Um, but with Hellebore, it's so cool because they also change color to attract, like when they're attracting pollination and when they're protecting their seeds, like when they're brighter whenever they're attracting pollinators, and then they go lighter whenever they're protecting their seeds. I just thought that was so cool. Okay, and stuff is fascinating, y'all. Like, it's just fascinating, and I had a lot of fun. Like, you can see, I'm gonna start here with this. This is a Strathmore 500 notebook, and you'll hear me complain about it a lot. It's a sketchbook. I have to keep reminding myself, Renee, it's a sketchbook. Relax. You're doing this to see what pieces you'll do later or won't do, and just kind of feeling it out and having some fun. The green gold that I used as the base of these flowers, because like I said, they change colors. I wanted to show that. It does not like this paper. Like, it just went so dirty looking. So going over it with this Perylin Violet, which is the color that they can sometimes show as the Hellebore, I ended up having to cover a lot more of the flower than I planned on, because I really wanted to show that yellow, but it didn't show for a lot of them. So I eventually give up. Like the other two flowers that I do, I just keep it in the Perylin. But going through and using the pigment to show the different stages, I tried to get a little bit more, and I had to keep reminding myself, like, Renee, it's a sketchbook, relax. But also at the same time, I just love doing the fine lines and the feathering that you can really see on these two flowers, and going through the lines and the edges and keeping the feathering to the direction of each petal was really important to show, you know, how flowers are, and having that shadow underneath and still keeping these straight lines going across. And I don't know, I just actually really enjoyed this. And the one I have coming up after this is the calla lily, and it was so completely different because that was more loose. I just love that. I just do. But at the same time, reminding myself constantly that this is a sketchbook and relax, because that's a little bit hard for me. Especially, I don't know, I just want everything to be the way it looks like on Arch paper. And it's never going to be. It's a sketchbook, right? Like, it's not. Let go, Renee, let go. And a little bit, I should get into, like, I'm like gabbling on here. I should get into like some of the really cool things about Hellebore, because like they have like a really, really, really rich history, which people are like, I don't know, they've been used a lot throughout history for like, even Roman times. There was a time when supposedly an entire town was poisoned because they couldn't get in during a siege, so they poisoned the water with hellebore, which I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess that's one way. Again, historical, you know. It's also been used for things that I had no idea about, like having, okay, this is such a time of like witch trials, okay? Nothing makes sense. So if you put hellebore in front of your home, it was for protection, right? It's like, okay, well, that's one symbol for it. Cool. But if somebody came along and was like, you're a witch, they would say that the fact that you had hellebore in front of your house proved that you're a witch. Like, make it make sense. All right. Thanks. So getting back to this, anyway, I'm using a higher concentration of the Perylene Violet to get into the shadows, so like the underside of the branches, not quite the leaves, but then the leaves here, giving a little bit more water, going in afterwards with a thicker concentration. And I kind of struggled. I didn't struggle with these leaves, but again, I don't want to be one of those people that blames the paper, but once you've used a good paper like Arche, it's so hard because you know how things move on a good paper, right? But at the same time, you don't want your sketchbooks to necessarily be Arche, although an Arche sketchbook would be pretty wild. Probably be really expensive, but it would be pretty wild just to play with, but not really necessary. I don't know, go back and forth with that. It would be cool, but at the same time, it's a sketchbook and you want to let go a little bit in a sketchbook, even though I'll completely beat myself up constantly because it's not moving the way I know it can. Like here, like I love how the water moves, but I know it's going to be limited a little bit, and I've learned that this green gold, the paper doesn't like it for some reason, and I thought it was going to be all of the granulated paints, but I checked out a couple and they were fine. And here, like, oh, taking that heavier concentration and going in at the base where it's more dark just looks so good when you do it, but you can see how then it granulated on that bud, and I don't know, it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like, you just want it to be the same. Why can't it just be the same? So here I am, I'm doing again, going through and just having some fun with it, but also keeping a little bit more of the shape when you're moving your brush, like always remembering the shape of what you're working on, and then having a little bit darker concentration towards where those leaves will have darker color, like in the shadows. My cat is meowing at me. And I was really hoping to keep this darker concentration on this leaf, but you can see like the leaf next to it was still a little bit too damp and the color's moving. See, the color moves when I don't want it to, but yeah, anyway. Renee, let it go. Let it go. It's a sketchbook. Let it go. So I'm just moving it around a little bit there. You know, use it to your advantage. Because, you know, we're not going to complain forever. Oh, it's a sketchbook. I can't tell you all the times I tell myself, Renee, it's a sketchbook. Relax. And again, just moving around. So like the deeper concentration is still at the bottom. And never mind all that sort of sandy looking color, because again, that's not... Ow, my cat just bit me. Not like a real bite, just like a give me attention, you're talking to yourself bite. Yeah, I don't know, Strathmore 500. does not like the green gold. And again here, putting a little bit thicker concentration where there would be a shadow behind that bud. And I also do the same underneath, like going across, showing that that leaf is behind the one in front of it. You know what I mean? Just always remembering those things, like just a very fine line. I love doing fine lines, by the way. I sound really distracted. Maybe I've had too much coffee. No, there's no such thing as too much coffee. What am I talking about? Stop. And remembering too that there's a shadow behind like the petals and underneath that leaf at the bottom where there's a stem. I'll be doing that later too. Just keeping everything darker at the base and moving through. And I love making all these little lines on smaller leaves because I think smaller leaves are, I mean, all leaves are cute. I was going to say smaller leaves are cute, but they're all cute. I mean, it's nature. I love nature. Except for some bugs. I mean, I like you, but I like you from afar. You know what I mean? It's like, I respect you. I respect your job. You can be kind of pretty in the right light, but I don't want you in my house. Like, no, we're not friends like that. We're outside friends. We're not at home friends. Like, don't be knocking on my door and dropping by. No, I don't do bugs like that. No. Anyway, I gotta stop on the bugs. I'm gonna start thinking about bugs and I'm gonna start to itch. So, yeah, we're coming to like the later, like the last layers of the leaves, and you have to be like looking at like little details if you want the details. I like having kind of pointy leaves, and Hellebore do have a little bit of like a point on the side of their leaves. It's kind of cute. And okay, these Hellebore actually have a yellow inside, but that green gold just messed things up. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? We'll do the Pearland Violet in the middle to make it really dark, to have some contrast. For what I'm going to do with some gouache. And here we go. It's a lot of gouache I had to put in this wonderful Monstera palette that I paid way too much for, by the way, but that's really cool. And just taking these three colors, because I lighten it up with some water, to get the color of the stamen that are on the Hellebore, I had to kind of play around with it. It's like, okay, what am I gonna figure out? So this is on B paper. It's like, yeah, that'll work. That right there, that mixture works. What's with me in this like sound? Excuse me, it's been a while since I've done a voiceover. So yeah, the statement on the inside go in like these circles, and I didn't want to get too lined with it, so I just did a couple of rows, and then you see me here doing like a little bit of lines in between, just to give the impression to the eye that there's some lines there holding them up, like they're on a stem. And for this one here, you have to remember that that one petal is on an angle a little bit. So the further side, the side that I'm dabbing now, you'd see more of that stamen, you know? And this is the next day. I hate that one, by the way. Ugh. There's the calla lily that's coming up. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And don't worry, I'm not going to show you all of the overlay that I did on this. Just a little bit, and it's very, very sped up. I think this is like 3 times sped up. So I wasn't going to do all that. And the pencil underneath is still really thick. I just go over really, you know. Whatever, I'm going to erase it afterwards. Reminder that it's a sketchbook. And there's some of the interesting things about Hellebore historically, which I should say. So Another thing that they used to do with Hellebore was they would plant, like in the beginning of December, I think it is, they would plant bulbs in like a jar of water. And then by New Year, I think it was, they would, however many of the buds opened up would be however many months would be good weather in for the year. And that's why it's also called the Oracle Rose. Hadn't heard that before. Thought it was kind of cool. And it was also like used by Victorians to show like scandal and like slander and stuff. I love the Victorians and their whole like flower language is wild and constantly like backing each other up too. Like it's just, it goes kind of backwards. And here I am, like, I was like, I don't know. Do I leave it white? There's something missing. Do I give it a little bit of an oomph? And I'm like, Renee, what am I going to say here, guys? You know what I'm going to say? It's a sketchbook. How come I sound so awkward all of a sudden? Anyway, I decided to use cerulean blue to give a little bit of life in the background, and just using some water here, and I put some synthetic oxgall in there because I live in Canada and the winters get very dry. I have forced air. I'm in an apartment, so it's so dry. It's so dry. So the synthetic oxgall helps to slow down the drying period on the water so that it's easier to help me move the cerulean blue around and keep it really flowy and light and, you know, concentrated. Well, a little bit more concentrated in some areas than others. And yeah, I thought it turned out okay. The blue helps it pop, you know. Probably could have cleaned up a little bit more, but yeah. This is my Hellebore, guys. What do you think? Let me know other flowers I could do too. Bye!